Okay, I know that more than likely a lot of reviews for Mad Max Fury Road have started off with people saying this line, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Oh, what a day! What a lovely day! Hey everybody, today I'm here to talk about Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road is a reboot of sorts of the Mad Max franchise directed by George Miller, worked on the previous 3 Mad Max films with Mel Gibson in the title role. This time, Tom Hardy, who you might know as Bane from Dark Knight Rises, or from other films like Warrior or Bronson, he's taken over the role from Mel Gibson, also starring Nicholas Hoult and Charlize Theron. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic desert environment where an ecological collapse of sorts has occurred and people are trying to survive in the desert. It's post-apocalyptic. It speaks for itself. And a woman named Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, is on a mission to drive from one spot to another throughout the desert in a big rig truck with this warlord, Immortan Joe, along with his army, is in pursuit of her. Now, I'm not going to tell you what her goals are, but just know that this is a very simple premise from point A to point B. If you're a fan of the Mad Max films, or if you're not a fan of the Mad Max films, but you're curious about this one, let me just say, this movie is pretty insane. I mean, wow. There's a lot of stuff in here that just made me went, huh? I've never seen any Mad Max film prior to this, so I wasn't really sure how to feel about this going in, and I actually thought I was going to hate it. Considering the way it looked in the trailers, I thought it was going to look too over the top, and essentially I just went to see the movie to review it. That being said, while this may not be my absolute cup of tea, I actually had a pretty good time with this movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. Probably one of the better action films that we've seen in quite some time. You got Tom Hardy in the title role of Mad Max. Now, considering that it was Mel Gibson that he was taking over the role for, I'm sure a lot of fans were like, you got some shoes to fill, buddy. Look, again, I've only seen parts of the original Mad Max films, so I'm not really sure how Mel Gibson was. I mean, I like Mel Gibson more than most people as an actor, but I gotta say, Tom Hardy did a pretty damn good job, and I'd say this is probably one of the best performances he's ever done. He's very subdued, cool, calm, collected, and reserved. Kind of like that Clint Eastwood type of character. Although I have to say, even though he's the title character of this movie, Charlize Theron is really essentially the main character. She steals the show. She holds herself very well in the action scene, and when the time calls for her to have an emotional beat, she knocks it out of the park 100%. And Nicholas Hoult, who you've probably seen in the trailers, what a lovely day! He's pretty cool too in this movie, and without giving away too much, he's basically a bad guy turned good guy. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm actually growing to like Nicholas Hoult a little bit, not just because of X-Men, but I think he's a really good actor and a very capable actor also. And the villain, Immortan Joe, probably one of the most bizarre looking people I've ever seen in a movie. Not much backstory is given about how this guy came to be the way he is and the way he looks. He's actually pretty scary, not just with the mask, but with his eyes and the hair. You'll see what I mean. And let me just say, the scope of this movie is huge. The camera work, the sound design, the action, good God, the action in this movie is off the wall. I would say about a good 40 minutes of this movie is basically one giant action set piece. When I heard about that, going in, I thought, oh, that's gonna be boring. But it wasn't. It was actually a lot of fun. And there's car explosions, cars flipping around. And while you might think that, is that CGI? I don't think so. From what I heard, George Miller actually did that in real life. His production team, they all wanted to make it look as real as they could. And it looks very convincing to me. Even though the sandstorm scene, I could tell that some of it was CGI. That's to be expected. Can't go into an actual sandstorm and film an action sequence. That's impossible. That being said, though, there are a couple things that I would have done a little bit differently, mostly with the characters. I think we could have gotten maybe just a little bit more of an emphasis on Mad Max's background. He does have certain flashbacks to his past with this little girl that keeps flashing up in his head, and you hear her voice, and you get a sense that he's done some pretty dark things, or he's experienced some dark things in his past, probably prior and after the apocalypse happened. Now, this is an action movie. I'm not expecting something like Shakespeare. And for the movie that George Miller was trying to make, I think he did it very well. I just wanted a little bit more emphasis on character. And same thing for Nicholas Hoult's character. Maybe just a little bit more emphasis on his background. But that being said, I had a really good time with Mad Max Fury Road, surprisingly. I've never really been drawn to the Mad Max movies very much, and who knows, maybe after this I'll go watch the originals with Mel Gibson. If you're a fan of the Mad Max franchise, you're gonna have a fun time with this one. If you're not, you may like it or you may hate it. It could go either way. It's not something that I would go out of my way to watch over and over and over again, but I still had a really good time with it, and I would definitely recommend that you go see it. So what did you think of Mad Max Fury Road? Did you like it? You hate it? Let me know what you think down below. Until next time.